It's Rob!
Tony! And I'm Jeff.
We're in gaming.
And that's you.
Hey gamers, what's going on? It's me, Warshack, and today we're knocking out a really unique deck, really fun, and that is the Inspire Me Captain Mage Deck. I was going to just call it Inspire Mage Deck, but Inspire Me Captain sounds so much better, don't you think? It's like Inspire Me Charge! No, it has no charge in it, but it does have tons of Inspire, which is the point of the deck. So it's, as I said, very unique. So when you're playing against people, or your opponents with this deck, they think you're playing like Tempo Mage because it does run the Mana Worms and the Mad Scientists. And now Mana Worm and Mad Scientist, we draw them in our opening hand. We'll definitely get rid of the Shredder, and we'll continue talking about the uniqueness of the Inspire Me Captain Mage Deck. And every time I want to say charge, but there's no charge in the deck. It's just Inspire Me Captain, no charge. I'm gonna make a Pirate Rogue deck. I said I was gonna do it a while ago, but now I'm really gonna do it soon. So obviously turn one is the Mana Worm. Ooh, we got the Mana of the Lake too. Nice. So obviously Mana Worm on turn one. So like I was saying about the deck and how unique it is. When you're playing this, you start off like a normal Tempo Mage, Mad Scientist, you know, Frost, or Mana Worm, Unstable Portal. So they kind of play it as if it was Tempo Mage, but it's not. It plays a lot different because it's running 2 effigies. There's no mirror image. There's no counter spell. There is 1 antique heal bot because there was no other heal in the deck and there's no taunts. So if we go against Rush, I found just that 1 antique heal bot's really enough. And then besides that, the Kodo Riders, the Sarad, the Maidens, it just all works together in one great big ol' Inspire family. And we'll be able to see that through our 3 ranked games. Oh, for those of you who are new, we play 3 ranked games with the deck. We talk about the deck, why we do what, and what. Yeah, hold on. Fallen Hero and Swinging for 1. So obviously he's going to kill off the Fallen Hero, but it's going to summon another 2/2. So we talk 3 ranked wins, and then what we do, why we do what we do. There we go. That's what I was trying to say. I don't know why I couldn't say that. So he's obviously, like I said, he's going to kill off probably the Fallen Hero. It's going to summon another 2-drop because of our effigy. The following turn, depending on what he plays, will be a Mad Scientist Frostbolt, or we'll just throw out the Maiden of the Lake. What 2-drop did we receive? The 2/2 with taunt. Alright, so there is 1 taunt in the deck, guys. It's the grunt. And he quick-shotted the Mana Worm, which is interesting because he has a trap out, which tells me that's most likely not an explosive trap. It's probably going to be a bear trap, so we'll swing into it. It is a bear trap. And then from here, like I said, we'll Mad Scientist and throw down the Frostbolt on it. And if it wasn't a bear trap, of course we would have just Maiden of the Lake just to have the nice 2/6 out there. And then from there, we could have easily Fencing Coached the following turn and pinged, or just pinged. It all depends on what he plays. And I like our golden fencing coach, by the way, guys. It's a beautiful fencing coach. Look at that thing. It is just brilliant. So from here, what is this guy going to do? 4 mana. He could Eagle Horn Bow. He could 2/2 drops. He could passive. He can summon something. There's a lot a hunter can do with 4 mana, surprisingly. And he definitely has a handful of cards. So he's running Leopard Gnome, which tells me he's in the more like Faced Hunter kind of hunter. Those who run Abusive Sergeant, it's kind of hard to tell because Abusive Sergeant is ran in Hybrid. And Hybrid, you know, has mid-range tendencies. But Leopard Gnome is run mostly in Face Hunters. So we can kind of assume he's not, you know, he's more towards face and less towards mid-range. So we'll play the Maiden of the Lake, ping this for 1, which worked out really nicely because with 5 mana, remember, Maiden of the Lake reduces your hero power by 1. But remember, if you have 2 Maiden of the Lakes out, it doesn't make your hero power cost anything. It doesn't make it cost 0. Maiden of the Lake states that it reduces your hero power down to 1. It doesn't say it reduces it down 1. It says it reduces it to 1. So just keep in mind, 2 Maiden of the Lakes does not mean your hero power costs none. It still costs 1. Which I've seen a lot of people, you know, it's just a small misconception, small wording issue, but it's not really that bad. Making your hero power 1 is very, very nice. So, the antique heal bot, really awesome here. We're at 22 health, and he heals for 8, which is perfectly puts us at that 3 mark, or that 30 mark, and then we'll ping and swing for 2. That having Maiden of the Lake out and our passive cost, our passive being able to cost 1 is really crucial in the deck for both Kodo Rider and Fallen Hero, along with what's this guy's name? He's a Horse Rider. Well, he's a 2-drop, 2/3. You'll see him. You'll see him. Oh, no, he's a 3/2, and then he gets 1 health. Can't think of his name off the top of my head. When we draw him, we'll see it. All right, so we'll swing into this, see what the secret is. Is a explosive trap. It was a frozen. We definitely would receive our heal bot back, and it would be used again. We'll throw it on the Mana Worm. We'll throw it on the Fencing Coach. We'll play the secrets. Ping for 1, swing for 2, and end our turn. So that was a really awesome turn. We got 4 creatures on the board in effigy, so if he ends up killing the NT Killbot, which I think he might because it only has 1 health, so let's say he unleashes the hounds and decides he wants to kill it, even though he should probably kill, you know, the mana worm first, but it would take 3 of his hounds. Okay, so he's silencing the mana worm. Kill commanding face. This guy knows the place, and the place is face. Coining into a 3-drop animal companion for a huffer. Oh, another kill command, double face. That 10 damage, wow, that's a lot. All right, so we got another Maid in the Lake. This puts in effect, like I said, see the 2 of them on the board. The hero power still costs 1. Swing for 3, swing for 2, swing for 1, swing for 2. And we are pushing lethal next turn. I like how we talked about the double Maid and then we drew the double Maid. That's nice. And if he kills anything, we'll just effigy it. If he kills the 1-drop, that kind of sucks, but the chances of it being like a target dummy or a footman or whatever, so at least we'll have a taunt from that, which will be nice. Because this deck does have no taunts, unless one pops, you know, from a shredder or effigy. And then there is a question of why aren't you running the Cordera Drake? I think I said that right. It's the 6-drop 6/6, and it allows you to use your hero power multiple times. You can run it. I just personally don't like it. I'd rather run a Kodo Rider and then pump out 2 3/5s than having 1 6/6. And with the 6/6, you have to have some sort of combo to use with it. So whether a Maiden of the Lake on the field, a Fallen Hero, you know what I mean? It requires some other card to make it really useful. As for the Kodo Rider, it's good no matter what. You can just keep using your passive every turn to grant you that 3/5. With the Drake, you actually have to, you know, using 2 mana to do 1 damage multiple times really isn't cost effective without another card. And with the Kodo Rider, it's effective no matter what. So he's gonna Knife Juggler, Animal Companion. It's gonna ping off our 1/3, really doesn't do much. He's gonna ping and probably just go face. Yeah, there he goes. And that's going to be hello. Actually, 1 Stable Portal. Let's see what we get. Okay, and we'll kill him. So that was our first game of the 3 going against Face Hunter. I like how he really didn't have field control the entire game, but yet still got me down to 10 health. So if I wouldn't have had the anti-Killbot, we would have been at 2 health. So that just shows you how kind of prone this deck is to kind of rush decks. And that is why we're running the 1 anti-Killbot. You could actually probably throw in another one if you really wanted instead of maybe a fencing coach. It's not really necessary. It's just nice. It's just like fencing coach prior to Kodo Rider, so you can get, you know, the free passive off. So on turn 6, you can use your passive right away to grant you another 3/5. You don't really have to wait. So we're gonna get rid of the effigy, keep the Mad Scientist, get rid of the Kodo Rider, and keep the Fallen Hero. Of course, keep the 2 2-drops. Draw into, wow, we've got 3 2-drops, which means we definitely on turn 2 or our turn 1 will be coining into something, and we'll see what he's playing first to determine what we're going to play. So I'm thinking it's going to probably be the Mad Scientist. Is always a good choice, but a Fallen Hero is also pretty nice. Mad Scientist is probably the safest play here because it thins our deck for the secrets, guys. Drawing into secrets really not good for this deck. I mean, it's not good for any deck, especially Hunter, but just the Mad Scientist is such a great card. So if you can coin out a Scientist on turn 1 or turn 2, depending on, you know, if you go first or second, it's just so worth it. It's such a great card. All right, from here I believe we're going to probably play the 3/2, and it allows us every time we ping to get 1 health, and we'll swing face. There's no point to pop the Creeper. And I have a feeling because he's playing Creeper in a Druid deck, he's most likely playing Tempo Druid, which is like a rush-ish kind of Druid, or he's going to be playing the Face Druid, which is like a faster version of the Tempo Druid, which literally all depends on like Leper Gnomes and just quick damage. It's like a Face Hunter, but Druid style. So he's Mark of the Wild. It looks like that's definitely kind of deck that I have. You've checked out my Tempo Druid. It looks very similar to this. And when I mean very similar, it's like ideal. Those are the exact cards that are in the deck. There's no sway in it so far. So we'll play the Fallen Hero. It's obviously going to die to that Haunted Creeper, but it's gonna, you know, effigy is gonna pop and we'll be able to get another 2-drop from it, which is again really nice. So there's the Leper Gnome. So it looks like he's playing a mix between Tempo and Face, or he's just playing pure Face, and Mark of the Wild is just a weird thing. So he's effigying. I'm effigying. We got an Anoyotron. Nice, nice, nice. This helps us out a lot. Next turn, it looks like we'll be playing Fallen Hero and then pinging the Leper. I don't really see another great play there. We could, oh, actually, we'll kill off a Spider just in case, you know, he Savage Roars or something. And he's going to pop the Divine Shield anyway. So I'd rather him not use his passive to kill the Divine Shield. I'd rather just kill a creature with it. And it's nice because he also only has 3 cards in his hand with that one creature. And I really don't count the 1/1 as a creature yet. Okay, so there's the passive to kill off ours. So I guess we could have attacked face last turn. It wouldn't have lost us anything. I just like killing the creatures. Definitely when we're playing a rush deck like a Druid, making sure they can't, you know, Savage, Roar, or Panther to give his cards extra 1/1. There was really no other 5-drop to play here. I mean, I could have played an Anti-Killbot to heal for 2, but it's really, Azure Drake is the obvious play in this situation, so I didn't really think that needed an explanation. So the following turn now, there's going to be a couple things we can do. So we can play Maiden and passive. We can Kodo, or we can Sarad, and he'll definitely attack the Sarad. There's no doubt if we play Sarad, he's going to, you know, do everything he can to kill it, which isn't bad because that saves us from, you know, taking huge amounts of face damage. And if he doesn't attack Sarad, which he may, in fact, think he's, you know, let's not attack the Sarad, it will help us out. Because it generating a free spell is awesome. So it looks like he's going into it. He's going to passive, take 4 to the face. His Yeti's at 1 health, and he's going to swing. He's got 3 more damage on field, but he also has 6 mana to, you know, still twerk with. So we're taking 3, like stated. We're down to 24, and that's it. Wow, turn 8, and he only uses passive. That is awesome. So we're going to throw down a Maiden, ping this Yeti for 1, and I don't really see anything else here. If we had 1 more mana, we would definitely would have used Effigy, but unfortunately, we just didn't have enough mana to do everything we wanted to. I guess we could have passived Effigy and then Kodo Rider next turn and not played the Maiden in the Lake, but I think having a creature on the board is really important here. Just keeping kind of board, not board control, but just have some presence versus when you're going against an offensive Druid deck. For any deck that matters. So, Anti-Killbot because he's got 3 creatures down, and an Effigy because if he kills Maiden in the Lake or Anti-Killbot, you know, it'll pop off for 4 or pop off for 5. Also, with him having 3 creatures on the board, if he has Force of Nature, Savage Roar, where you're in lethal range. So just pay attention when you're going against any kind of Druid. When you're, if you know, turn, I believe 9 Force of Nature, Savage Roar, one's a 6-drop, one's a 3-drop, so 9, yeah, 9 mana is, you know. So hopefully he kills my Anti-Killbot, and if he does, the Effigy's going to pop in a 5-drop instead of a 4-drop if he ended up killing Maiden in the Lake. Alright, so Effigy's going to pop. What 5-drop are we going to get? Okay, I'll accept the Spectral Knight, no problem. It's a free 4/6, so you can definitely kill whatever he wants. And right now, this is with the scary portion, because if he draws Savage Roar, we're dead. There's no doubt in my mind if he draws Savage Roar, we're dead. So we're going to Kodo Rider. We're obviously going to ping off the Darnassus, get rid of that 1 mana crystal. We'll kill his 2/4 because it has the most health. I wish I could kill the Shade, but I can't. The 1/2s really aren't scary. The only thing, the scariest portion right now is if he draws Savage Roar or if he draws the Panther card that allows everything to get 1/1, making everything just a little bit more buffier. And, or bigger, I should say, not buffier. And yeah, definitely be an issue. So he rates, hopefully, the original Kodo Rider. Oh, no, he didn't. Okay, so he drew into the Savage Roar there, so I'm pretty sure this guy's just going to go face. Yeah, this isn't good. We're going to take a lot of damage. Alright, so we're down to 10 health. We already used our Anti-Killbot. We're at 8 health, and he played a Yeti, which means we're going to have to do big things. I believe, though, we are going to be able to win here, to be completely honest. How much damage do we have? We've got 3, 6, 7, 8, 12 with Fireball and Ping. That's 8? No, that's 8 more. So yeah, that's going to be game because we have Maiden in the Lake out. Right? 6, 8, yeah, that's game. Wow. We got really lucky here. This is, I believe, exact lethal. Woo, that was a close. Yep, that's exact lethal. Oh my gosh. Yeah, there would have been no way to clear everything on his field this turn. I mean there might have been, but I'd rather just, you know, win. And not chance of him drawing some some form of charge or Force of Nature or, you know, Druid things. So we're going to go into our 3rd game now, putting us on our win streak and kind of wrapping up this video. Hopefully you got to see a little bit of the Inspire Mage Deck. It works a lot different than, I wouldn't say a ton different than normal Mage Decks, but it definitely runs a little bit different and an offbeat than your normal tempo Mage. And people just don't expect the Maiden of the Lake. They don't expect the Inspire mechanics. And they especially don't expect the Kodo Rider. I'll tell you that. I haven't seen a single person play Kodo Rider against me. So we're going to get rid of the Flame Strike and Azure Drake. Keep the Frostbolt just because of Darnassus Aspirant. Normally, before TGT, I would have never kept a Frostbolt anyway. In lieu of trying to get a 2-drop against the Druid, because Druid used to have no 2-drop to play. It was all 4-drop or higher. But now they have Darnassus Aspirant, which changed the entire Druid front lineup. So keeping Frostbolt against Druid is good. And we also have a 2-drop, which is nice. So he kept 1 card in his hand. So if he plays the second card on the second to his left in his hand, it's a Darnassus Aspirant. So I'm expecting a coin, and there it is. The card he kept is Darnassus Aspirant, most likely, unless it's a Wild Growth. Okay, so it was a Wild Growth. Okay. Which is a Darnassus Aspirant. It's just not a creature. It's like an effect of a Darnassus Aspirant. And of course, we're just going to play our 2-drop. And then the following turn, hopefully he plays maybe a... I was going to say hopefully he plays the Shaded Naxxramas, but then it didn't register that it, of course has invisibility, so it doesn't matter. So we're going to ping for 1, swing for 3, and end our turn. Unfortunately, he didn't play a 3-drop. We could have killed with Frostbolt, which would have been ideal. His 4-drop is probably, a Shredder would be nice for him, and Innervate into a 6-drop. Okay, so he's going to swipe off the 3/3. That shows me he really doesn't have any creatures in his hand to deal with that. So we're going to throw down our Shredder and end our turn. And the reason we threw down a Shredder and not Maiden of the Lake is because if we throw down Maiden, it is most likely going to die to the Shade of Naxxramas. And on top of that, it doesn't kill it. Well, like the Maiden only has 2 attack. You really use her for the benefit of your hero power, only costing 1, not really to clear giant creatures like a Shade of Naxxramas. And 4/4 isn't huge, but it's big enough to, warrant not playing her. So he's going to silence the Shredder, and I doubt he's going to swing at it with the Shade. Yeah, definitely not going to do that. So now we can play the Shade, or the Maiden of the Lake. The option is to take our Shredder down to 1 health, but then he'll have to passive, so then he'll only have 4 mana to do what he wants. So I think that's a pretty good play, and then we'll ping his face for 1. So at this situation, instead of him playing maybe a 5 or 6 drop, he's, kind of forced to use his passive to take 4 to the face through killing our Shredder, granting us another turn to kind of proactively use a move, and our move will be Champion Sarad and then ping for 1 because we set ourselves up with the Maiden of the Lake on turn 5, so we can play Sarad and ping on turn 6. And then on turn 7, we have Dr. Boom lined up. And then if he ends up getting a giant field somehow, of course, there's always Flame Strike with the double Frostbolt, but I really don't see him doing that with us having, a creature lined up every turn. It's always nice to have creatures, like inherently ready. So he ended up using his passive, but his passive has 3 attack instead of 1, which really doesn't matter. The Shredder is going to die anyway, but he was able to play a really good 4-drop, which is... so our options now are to Frostbolt, ping it. Oh, no. So if we Shredder and Frostbolt, it's still going to live, which means he can still use his passive to kill our Shredder. So I think the only option here is that Sarad, ping it for 1 and hope for the best. Because either way, if we have to waste double Frost. We have to Frostbolt and ping it, which would cost 3. And which means we play no other creature on turn 6. Which means we need to play a creature. There's no other way around it. I mean, double Frostbolt on a creature is not worth it. And a Frostbolt ping doesn't grant us any board control, and his Shade of Naxxramas is just getting huge. So I think Saradding. So even if he commits suicide with it, at least we get a free card out of it. And yeah. So what do we get? Okay, so we got a Mark of the Wild, but it's we can either get 4 HP and taunt, or +4 attack with that card, which is definitely a Mark of Nature. Nah, that's what it is. Not Mark of the Wild, but Nature. So he's going to Wild Growth to get that extra mana crystal, so now he's at 8. He's going to passive, so that's another turn where he really didn't do much, unless he has, a 3-drop. So he's going to use his passive to swing directly. Wow. He's going, okay, man, if he was going face, I might have been worried, because, next turn he'll be in combo range. He definitely should kill the Maiden of the Lake. If I was him, I would kill the Maiden of the Lake. It's a free creature swipe, but then he's up to her Frostbolt and ping to the face again. So, and then we still have enough mana to... Okay. Hopefully he doesn't go face. I actually prefer him to attack the Maiden, because then we can Frostbolt ping Shredder. Alright. So Dr. Boom is nice, but there's no way to kill that shade, and we need to kill the shade, or at least freeze it for a turn, so it can't, you know, swing again for another 6, because right now if he has Force of Nature, Savage Roar, he wins. So we have to stop the shade no matter what, or we can taunt up, but a keeper would be pretty bad. And we kind of fucked that up. We definitely should have played Mana Worm prior to playing Frostbolt. That was an obvious mistake there. Kind of playing too fast, my bad, guys. One attack, really not huge, but it's big enough to, you know, that's a very obvious mistake. So don't do that. Always play Mana Worm prior to playing spells. Unlike me, he's bad. So he's going to passive, probably just swing face and end turn. The Ancient of War is definitely something we're going to have to get past, and we're going to probably be able to get past with the Flame Strike here. And if our Mana Worm had 3 attack here, that might... 6, what would that? 5... Yeah, there's really, yeah. Either way, our Mana Worm was going to die there. So I guess it having the extra attack really didn't affect us much in that situation. But normally having, you know, I've said it was a mistake. You guys get it. So field control, turn 10 in the game, not bad. He's got 5 cards in hand. He hasn't used Ancient Allure yet to draw 2, and he hasn't played Force of Nature, Savage Roar. He's only used 1 swipe and no wraiths. So there's the other keeper. Or a keeper to deal 2 damage. He got rid of our 2/2. We have no beast in the deck, so it's really not that big of a deal. And then from here, I'm pretty sure we're just going to Dr. Boom, Frostbolt, and we can't ping it to die, but we definitely can stop it from attacking. And then the following turn, we're pushing lethal. So we'll freeze that just in case, again, he's got the Force of Nature, Savage Roar. We're stopping him from having lethal. We could have Frostbolted face and freeze face and done extra damage, but that's... If this creature lives, it grants another 4 damage. If his face lives, that only grants 2 damage. So, remember, Force of Nature, Savage Roar is 14 damage. We're at 18 health, and him having Keeper out would have been the extra 4 for the 18 damage. So that's good that we were able to get that. And the bomb hits his face for 1, really not that big of a deal. I wish it would have hit for more, but we're still pushing the lethal next turn. What is this? This is 10 and then 15. Yeah. So... If this bomb has to at least hit face for more than 1, no, just at least 1 damage. Okay, so he summoned Groots. He didn't even kill the bomb. If he doesn't kill the bomb, we're pushing lethal. All right, yep. This is game over because we're going to be able to Mark of Nature to +4 attack, ping for 1, and swing with everything else. Yepers. So here's the +4 attack. It really doesn't matter who we put it on. The swing for 1, swing for 7, swing for 6, ping for 1, exact lethal. Goodbye, Druid. Welcome to the Defeat Club. Okay, so that's the Inspire Mage deck. Really fun stuff, really unique, and definitely a lot. I don't know. I enjoy the deck. I wouldn't say it's more fun than Tempo Mage or maybe Freeze Mage or Dragon Mage, but it definitely is a deck that kind of catches your eye, and it's different than what you normally see. So if you're looking for some variety, you don't always, you know, just want to play the standard Tempo Mage, the Freeze Mage, and whatnot. This is always a great deck to pick from. And that people, you know, will have no. It's just you don't come into a game expecting someone to play Fencing Coach and Kodo Rider. So it definitely takes people off their normal trace of thought, and they really don't know when someone can't expect your next play and they can't play appropriately because of that. That really gives you a competitive advantage, no matter what. So. That would pretty much be a solid reason to play this deck. Anyway, we'll go over the deck list, kind of discuss why I have it in here, and why not some other cards. Let's kind of sit up. Let's get a drink real quick. So, Mana Worm, this is obvious. Every Mage deck has it. It's a 1-drop, 1/3, and every time you play a spell, it gets +1 attack. Just make sure you're not like me and you play the card prior to playing a spell and just playing too fast. Don't play too fast. This goes in so many Mage decks, pretty much. The only deck it doesn't go into is Freeze Mage, but Mana Worm is definitely just one of those cards, just like Warlock plays Void Walker, Hunter plays Web Spinner. This is just, you know, Mage plays Mana Worm. Frostbolt, another staple, we're not even going to go over it. Unstable Portal, because this deck doesn't have too much RNG in it, and Unstable Portal is absolutely insane if you get, you know, a great legendary from it, whether it be Gruul, Dr. Boom, Antonidas. There's just so many options with Unstable Portal that just, it unlocks so many doors, and it'll win you more games than not. And most of the time it grants you a decent card. I mean, some of those times, yeah, you get a Wisp, you get a 2/1, but most of the time you get a card that ends up coming in handy sometime during the game. So that's why I run that. For the Bone Guard. This is we'll talk about we'll talk about them separate. I was gonna combine Bone Guard with Fallen Hero, but obviously that'd be kind of silly. So Bone Guard. This is our solid, instead of like a knife juggler or something. We're running a lot of 2-drops actually. The Mad Scientist, Fallen Hero, and Bone Guard as our 2-drops, and they're really strong. The Mad Scientist, we've been over that, so we won't even talk about him. But with the Bone Guard, every time you use your Inspire, which is your passive, you get 1 HP, and that is just really annoying with this deck. If you've got Maid in the Lake out, Fallen Hero, him out, it's just so many cards when they're on the field all working together. It's just using your passive becomes so much more than just the 1 damage. It becomes either 2 damage. You have Fallen Hero, your cards are getting extra abilities, they're getting extra health, you're being able to summon more creature, you're getting free cards with Sarad, your hero power doesn't even cost 2 anymore. So there's a lot of synergy with this deck from using your passive that normally you wouldn't use your passive in some situations, but this deck grants you the ability to use it and not only get an effect from it, you enhance that effect along with getting bonus cards and whatnot. I'm gonna go over a quick thing. Juskar Trueheart, she definitely, the Inspire mechanic and her work side by side. She increases or enhances the Inspire mechanic. So it's like, Rob, why aren't you playing Juskar Trueheart in this deck? She'd make your Fireball do 2 damage instead of 1. First of all, she didn't really fit well in this deck. She's a 6-drop. And we're already running Kodo Rider. She's kind of slow in my opinion for Mage. In Warrior, she works really nice because Warrior is a late game deck. She works really nice in, what's another deck? Paladin, because you summon 2 1/1s on the field, so not only you get field presence, it works, synergizes well with Quartermaster. But Juskar in this deck, I tried playing her, it's just kind of too slow for this deck. By turn 6, if you're depending that much on your hero power to deal just that 1 extra damage, it's just not, she's just not big enough, and it's a little too slow for this deck because there's so many other cards that can just grant you quicker and more efficient effects than her for this deck in particular. Not that she's bad, just I found that in this deck with these cards, it's just not, it doesn't work out as well as you think it does. Okay, so heading to Fallen Hero, making your hero power do 2 is pretty much what Juskar does, but you're able to do this on turn 2 instead of turn 6. If Fallen Hero does die, you lose that effect, of course, but it's just one of those things. Also, if you've got 2 Fallen Heroes out, it's not like the Maiden of the Lake where it caps off at 1. If you have 2 Fallen Heroes out, your hero power does 3. If you have 1, it does 2. So pay attention to that. Mad Scientist, we've gone over that. The Effigy, we've kind of gone over that. The Fencing Coach, we're only playing 1 because we have a decent amount of 2-drops that kind of fill in the creature role. Plus, there's not a whole lot of decent 3-drops to play in this deck. And then having 2 Fencing Coaches, I believe, was just too much. Playing 1 prior to turn 6 is nice, and yeah, it's just 2 is too much. 1 is just enough. That's what I found. Fireball is obviously a staple. One polymorph is just enough. I mean, there's enough field clear in this deck. I mean, you have the 2 Frostbolts, you got 2 Fireballs, you've got the polymorph, you got the Flame Strike. So there's already a lot of field clear in the deck. The polymorph is just, for that huge taunt creature you just can't get past, like Ancient of War, the 5/10, really hard to get past. And just, Sledge Belchers if you need to get a quick CC out of there, but for the most part, 1 polymorph is good. You could run the second one if you don't want to run the 1 Fencing Coach, just to have a lot of control in the deck. But I found 1 polymorph is fine. The Maiden of the Lakes, we've kind of seen why that's an amazing card in this deck and why it works so well. So we're not really going to go over that. The Piloted Shredder is my favorite 4-drop, no matter what. We actually did an entire video on that card as the best golden common to craft. It only costs 400 dust, and every card that comes out of Shredder is golden, which is really nice. And he looks cool as a golden card. So it's just, there's so much value that comes out of Shredder. You can't really argue him with any other 4-drop. I suppose you could play Water Elemental, but that's just a personal preference. I mean, I've actually, in my Tempo Mage, I've switched off running 1 Water Elemental and 1 Shredder, then just 2 Shredders and no Water Elemental, just to kind of see how it goes. And I'm still tweaking that, so I'll have a little bit more insight on that later. The Antique Healbot, we're running 1 of these, and we've seen why when we went against that Hunter. If you're going against a deck that's pretty aggressive, this deck, again, doesn't have any taunts. It does have field clear and a lot of spells to take care of creatures, but it doesn't initially stop the damage from being dealt as soon as the card is played, if it has charge or not. Or, whether they play kill commands like the guy did, or quick shots, or passive. So the Antique Healbot just is kind of, it's there to support us. It's not the only support beam. I don't know. It's kind of, you've seen why we've played it, and it's decent. If you want to run 2 of these, it wouldn't be a bad thing. I just found 1 is good, and kind of once you get the field control, you're pretty much good from there, and you just kind of need to be topped off a little bit. You're not winning games because of Healbot, you're just extending it from dying. So I guess that could be winning. Anyway, I messed up when I was talking about him, but you guys will understand. I'm tired. Okay, so the Azure Drakes. These are great cards. This is your drawing. Because there's no Arcane Intellect in the deck and there's no, 3 mana to draw 2, your Azure Drake is kind of your draw performance. It's a 5-drop plus 1 spell damage. You draw 1 card. It puts a 4/4 body on the board. All your spells, like I said, do 1 more damage, and it's an automatic 1-for-1 because it draws. A great card. Next is Champion of Sarad. This card, absolutely insane in my opinion. This card, like I said, I mean not like I said, but like we saw the last game, it gave us the Mark of Nature that allowed us to push the lethal. There's just so many options when this card comes around. If you got the Maiden of the Lake out and you have this card out, 1 mana to deal 1 damage, but you also get yourself a free spell card from any of the classes. I'm actually going to go over a video with the probabilities of getting particular spell cards. So like, let's say you need to push 1 more damage or 2 more damage, or you need to CC a creature. What is the likelihood when using your passive that Sarad will give you the card that you need? And I'll actually go over those percentages in a video within the next week or so after you see this. So I'll put that in the annotation to the left when it's up, but if it's not up right away, it's because it hasn't been a week yet. So just give me time to kind of crunch all those numbers or find out a website that has all those numbers so I can share that with you guys. Heading over to the Kodo Riders, we didn't really get to see the full potential of this card, but there's been so many games where it just kind of snowballs out of control, where every turn you're just getting an extra 3/5. And if they end up dealing with the Kodo Rider, they're wasting more cards than not. Let's say we play 1 Kodo Rider, right? We use our passive twice. We've been able to generate 2 3/2s or 3/5s from Kodo Rider, but they end up wasting, at least 2 to 4 cards getting rid of them just for our 1 card. So definitely see a lot of value out of him, and if they can't deal with him right away, he can become quite a nuisance. We're running 1 Flame Strike. That is just for the field clear. Like I said, this deck is very prone to kind of rushier decks, but as we've seen, TGT has been able to slow down the meta just a little, not a ton, but enough to make it so you can kind of play the cards like Kodo Rider without too much worry that you're going to get face rolled every game. But the Flame Strike's kind of just there, turn 7, wipe the board clean. It's one of those mage cards that you can't really go without playing. Two of them's too much, but you could probably get away with 2 of them if you really enjoy Flame Strike and you're finding yourself on turn 7. If you find a lot of these cards are replaceable. If you find yourself hey, on turn 7, it always seems like their field is full of 4-drop, health creatures or less. Of having, a Flame Strike would be awesome, and you find yourself in the situation every other game. Try, taking out a Kodo Rider, putting in another Flame Strike, or taking out an Azure Drake and putting in a Flame Strike. This is just a foundation for you guys. Obviously, at my rank, I'm playing different players than, rank 15 through 16. And when I'm playing at rank 2, I'm obviously playing different players than at rank 5 through 6. So it just depends on what rank you are, is kind of what decks you're going to see. I've heard a lot of people, say between ranks 10 and 6, there's tons of Face Hunter. So obviously you tweak this deck a little bit for those Face Hunters. Maybe you put in some Sledge Belchers. Maybe you add the other anti-Killbot. So don't just go off this deck list alone. Kind of, use your brain, see what you can do and who you're playing against. And we're going to finish up with Dr. Boom. That's just that 7-drop you can't get away from. You've seen this guy in so many of my videos, and it's just one of those cards that you just, like I said, you can't get away from him. If you don't have him, you need to craft him. Unfortunately, he's just that guy. You got to have that guy. He's just that guy. So with all of this said, I appreciate you guys watching as always. I'm Warshack, and happy whatever the hell day it is.